What's it like to caddy for two-time major champion Justin Thomas, and what were the lessons that I learned from watching one of the best players in the world inside the ropes as his caddy? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you an amazing story of how I had the opportunity to caddy for Justin Thomas. And during this round, I learned so much about the game of golf, and I'm going to be sharing with you three main lessons that I learned that is going to help you better understand this game and also help you improve your own golf game. Let's get started. Everybody, my name is Cyrus Jansen. I'm an international ambassador for the PGA of America, and I am a Class A PGA professional. I've been living around the world for the past 15 years, and I spent 10 of those years inside of China. Now, from 2009 to 2013, I was the head golf professional at Sheshan International Golf Club, which was China's premier golf club. This is by far one of the most spectacular golf courses in the world. Golf Digest currently ranks it as number 74 in the world. Now in 2015, I went back to Sheshan International, and I was actually there as a spectator this time, and I was wanting to go out and just simply enjoy the final round. But seemingly luck would have it differently, as I was on the practice green watching Justin Thomas do some chipping and putting right before his tee time when something very unfortunate happened. His caddy grabbed his bag and he was going down the slope of the chipping green and he rolled his ankle. He rolled his ankle so bad that his caddy just looked up at Justin Thomas and said, "Hey boss, I'm sorry, I can't caddy for you today. I've just rolled my ankle. I've got to put some ice on this. There's no way that I can go out and I can walk for the next 4.5 hours and caddy for you this final round." Now, I think it was a little bit of being in the right place at the right time, but Justin Thomas simply looked up and I went over to him and I said, "Hey Justin, my name is Cyrus. I'm actually the former head pro here. Let me help you get back to the clubhouse. I know the staff here. Let me go ahead and see if I can arrange a caddy for you." Now, Justin simply looked at me and he said, "Well, actually, are you interested in caddying? It'd be pretty cool to have the former head pro of the golf course on the bag for me. Have you ever caddied before?" Now, the interesting thing is that Justin and I immediately had some amazing rapport. As an American citizen, we had that common connection, both being from America, and both of us went to some amazing football schools. I went to Florida State University, go Seminoles, and Justin Thomas went to Alabama, Roll Tide Roll. And this was the first thing that we talked about on the tee. It was actually a Sunday morning in Shanghai, which meant that it was Saturday evening back home in America. And interesting enough, that day, Alabama was playing LSU, and Justin Thomas looked at me and he said, "Cyrus, the most important thing that you can do today as my caddy is take my phone and keep me updated on that ESPN app. I want to make sure that you give me the play-by-play and let me know how the Alabama Crimson Tide is doing against this big game against the LSU Tigers." Now, the first lesson that I really observed and that I learned from Justin Thomas is that here he is. He's playing in the 4th round of the WGC Champions. This is a major tournament, and his main concern was actually his football team. And so for you to play at your best ability, sometimes what you need to do is you need to be focusing on other things. And this is something that is so important because when you think about it, when you think about the relationship between a player and a caddy, I guarantee you that as they're spending that 4.5 hours on the weekend, they're not talking everything about golf. They're actually trying to think everything but golf. They are talking about family, they're talking about sports, they're talking about movies, and that is what a caddy is supposed to do. It's trying to get that player in a very comfortable state of mind. Justin Thomas and I, for the majority of that afternoon, we talked college football. It was something that both of us were passionate about, both of us had a lot of experience in, and it really was something that really allowed him to play some of his good golf, because all he needed to do was concentrate for about 30 seconds over the golf ball. Immediately after he hit that shot, he then continued his conversation with me, and we were talking about what's it like being an American, living in China? What's it like being a PGA Tour pro, traveling around the world and playing in these amazing tournaments? And of course, the majority of our conversation was about college football. So make sure that when you are playing your game, don't be so serious. Here you have a great example. Justin Thomas, one of the best players in the world, his main concern that day was Alabama football. Now, Justin Thomas was playing really good golf that day, but there was one hole that he hit a very bad tee shot, and it actually excited me because I thought, wow, this is the opportunity that I get to see a PGA Tour player, and I'm going to get to see how he scrambles and saves his par. The bad shot came on the 12th hole, which is a very difficult par 3 stretching around 225 yards. Justin Thomas hit a 5-iron, and quite frankly, he just didn't commit to the shot. I could even tell that his routine was a little bit off. He wasn't fully committed, and he hit this very, very weak 5-iron. It was one of those ones that just flare out to the right. You know, he probably hit it about 205, 210 yards. So it was short, right, in the rough, and he actually left himself in a very awkward position. He probably had about 30 yards to the pin. He was buried in the deep rough, had a huge mound to go over, and I thought to myself, wow, this is a really bad place for a PGA Tour professional to miss it. Normally, that's what makes these players so good, is they know exactly where to miss on the green. But here we go, Justin Thomas missed it in a terrible place and now had a really hard chance to get up and down for his par. But this was the amazing thing, and here's the second lesson that I learned from JT. As we were approaching that ball, I started thinking to myself, how would I play this shot? Would I try to take a gap wedge and maybe punch it into the slope in front, let that ball release down to the hole? Would I use my lob wedge? And I was trying to think of all the different scenarios here. And Justin Thomas, he simply had one look at the lie. He reached over to the bag, grabbed out his 60-degree wedge, took one look at the pin, opened it up, hit a massive flop shot. It went straight in the air and landed about 2 feet from the hole, and it was an easy up and down for his par. The amazing thing that I learned from Justin on that shot is don't overcomplicate it. Basically what you want to do is always trust your gut and make sure that you just stay committed to that. Sometimes myself, what I get in trouble with is that I'm always between clubs, I don't know what shot to hit, but the best thing is look at the situation, and usually your gut is going to tell you this is the shot you should hit. 9 times out of 10, your gut reaction is going to be the right decision. And this is something that I learned from Justin. Don't overthink it. Simply feel, use your feel, and just gauge and go from there. I thought Justin Thomas was not going to get up and down, but he made it look like it was just a routine shot, hit a great flop, hit it to 2 feet, tapped it in, and off we are to the next hole. Now, the third and final tip that Justin Thomas shared with me that day of caddying actually came on the 18th green, and he gave me a really good insight into how PGA Tour players are going through their process and how they essentially make a blueprint for shooting a low round on the golf course. Now, many of us are familiar with keeping our own stats. For example, maybe you're tracking how many fairways you hit, how many greens you hit, how many putts you make. These stats are great, but Justin told me one thing. He said, Cyrus, the most important stat that I keep is how many approach shots can I land on the green within 15 feet of the hole. Now, this distance is approximately 15 feet. And he said the greatest number of birdie putts that you're going to make in a round is basically going to be coming within this distance. Now, once you get outside of this 15-foot margin, for sure you're going to be able to make the odd birdie putt, but your percentage, your chances reduce significantly once you're outside of this range. He said, keep track of how many approach shots you can make within 15 feet of the hole. He said his goal is to hit approximately 10 approach shots within 15 feet. He feels that if he can do that, he's most likely going to be able to convert at least half of those. So if he's able to convert 50% from within 15 feet, that's 5 birdies. If he can par the rest, that's basically his blueprint for shooting 67 on the golf course. And again, this is something that I want you to focus on if you're a better player. How many approach shots are you hitting within 15 feet of the hole? Because like these two balls demonstrate, hopefully you're able to make 50%, and that's going to enable you to become a better golfer. Now, if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to thank you for your support. Let's throw it back to the studio and give a huge shout out to Sheath Underwear, who is the sponsor of today's important message. Everyone, I'm a professional golfer, and I'm always looking for anything that's going to give me the competitive advantage, and I promise you that you're going to absolutely love the product here at Sheath Underwear. Let's go ahead and open this up, and I'm going to reveal to you why this is so different from any other underwear that you have tried. First of all, this underwear was developed from an Iraqi war veteran from the United States who was doing his second tour in Iraq, and he needed something to keep him and his family jewels safe while he was on the combat fields. When you open this up, one of the unique features is that it has a kangaroo pouch here for your joeys, and also a hole here. We can pretty much figure out what goes in there. But the cool thing about this design is that it basically prevents skin-on-skin contact. And this is something that I've never seen in any other premium underwear. And I guarantee you that if you try these underwear out, you are gonna absolutely love it. It is absolutely the most comfortable pair of underwear that I use. And I'm living in a very hot climate right now. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. And again, when you're playing in sometimes 110-degree heat, you're gonna need anything that you can to give you a competitive advantage. And I found it with Sheath Underwear. Simply go to sheathunderwear.com/Cyrus and you're gonna be able to save an incredible 20% off your order. This is the best performance underwear that you will find. And again, I'm not gonna recommend it on my channel unless I 100% endorse it and believe in this product. Everyone, my name is Cyrus Jansen. Thank you for spending time with me here on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, drop me a comment down below, and I look forward to seeing you all in next week's video.